Electrolyte management training. Stress increases electrolyte requirements, particularly sodium, potassium, and magnesium that support muscle function and recovery. Provide electrolyte supplementation on training days and 24 hours post-training to support recovery and prevent cramping or muscle dysfunction. Use balanced electrolyte formulations rather than single mineral supplements that could create imbalances affecting performance and health. Amino acid enhancement. Young birds benefit from amino acid supplementation that supports muscle development and recovery during intensive training periods. Provide branched-chain amino acids (BCAA) supplementation 2 to 3 times weekly during peak training phases that support muscle development and recovery. Focus on essential amino acids that young birds may not synthesize adequately during rapid growth and training stress periods. Digestive support. Young bird digestive systems benefit from probiotic supplementation that supports digestive health during training stress and dietary changes. Provide high-quality probiotic supplements 2 times weekly throughout training preparation to maintain digestive health and nutrient absorption efficiency. Include digestive enzyme supplementation if feeding changes create digestive challenges or reduced feed efficiency in individual birds. Performance optimization. Carefully selected performance supplements can enhance training adaptation without creating dependency or health concerns in young birds. Natural energy enhancers such as bee pollen or spirulina provide performance benefits while supporting overall health during training preparation. Avoid stimulant-based performance supplements that could stress developing cardiovascular systems or create unhealthy performance dependencies. Supplement timing and administration. Administer supplements in drinking water or mixed with feed based on supplement characteristics and absorption requirements for maximum effectiveness. Time supplement administration to coincide with training schedules and recovery periods that optimize absorption and utilization. Monitor individual bird responses to supplementation and adjust protocols based on performance changes, health indicators, and training adaptation. Safety considerations. Never exceed recommended supplement dosages, particularly for young birds whose smaller body size and developing systems require careful dosage management. Avoid supplement combinations that could create interactions or nutritional imbalances affecting health or performance capability. Consult with avian veterinarians for supplement protocols if young birds show health concerns or unusual responses to training preparation. But supplement wisdom connects to traditional health support that I've studied for pigeon healthy. Ancient pigeon keepers understood natural supplementation and used traditional remedies that supported young bird development and performance. Medieval supplementation included natural herbs and traditional remedies that modern research has validated as effective support for development and performance enhancement. Renaissance health masters used traditional supplementation methods that supported young bird development while enhancing performance capability through natural approaches that remain effective today. Subscribe to Pigeon Healthy to discover these traditional supplementation techniques that provide natural approaches to supporting young bird development and performance optimization. The 10-day pre-race preparation protocol represents the critical period where all training, nutrition, and preparation elements combine to optimize 100-kilometer racing performance. Days 10-8 training finalization. Complete final training flights at 80-90 kilometers to confirm racing readiness while allowing sufficient recovery time before competition. Evaluate individual bird condition, performance, and behavior to make final selections for competitive racing participation. Fine-tune handling and basketing procedures to minimize race day stress while ensuring birds are comfortable with competitive preparation. Days 7 to 5 nutrition optimization. Transition to race-specific nutrition with emphasis on digestibility and consistent energy delivery rather than maximum nutrition density. Reduce feeding quantities slightly to ensure optimal body condition without excess weight that could reduce racing performance. Eliminate any supplements that could cause digestive upset while maintaining essential vitamin and electrolyte support. Days 4-2 mental preparation. Minimize stress and disruption while maintaining normal routines that keep birds calm and confident for racing preparation. Evaluate weather forecasts and race conditions to optimize final preparation decisions and race day strategies. Day 1, race day preparation. Implement final feeding schedule with small morning meal 4-6 hours before basketing that provides energy without digestive stress. Complete final health assessment and condition evaluation to ensure all racing birds are healthy and ready for competition. Execute systematic basketing procedures that minimize stress while ensuring proper identification and competitive preparation. Race day execution. Arrive at liberation site with adequate time for bird assessment and proper release preparation without rush or stress. Monitor weather conditions and competitive factors that might affect race strategies or bird safety decisions. Document race day conditions, bird behavior, and performance factors that inform future preparation improvements. Post-race recovery. Implement immediate post-race recovery protocols with glucose water and electrolyte supplementation within 30 minutes of return. Provide recovery nutrition with emphasis on protein for muscle repair and carbohydrates for energy replenishment. Monitor individual bird recovery and condition for 48-72 hours post-race to ensure complete recovery before subsequent training. If you're committed to systematic 100-kilometer preparation rather than hoping for lucky results, subscribe now and hit that notification bell. I regularly share preparation protocols that transform random training into systematic performance development. But race preparation connects to ancient competition wisdom preserved on Pigeon Healthy. Historical racing masters understood race preparation and developed systematic protocols that optimized performance while maintaining bird health and longevity. Medieval race preparation included systematic protocols that modern sports science has validated as sophisticated approaches to competition preparation and performance optimization. Renaissance competition masters used race preparation methods that optimized performance while maintaining long-term health through systematic preparation protocols that supported both immediate performance and career longevity. Subscribe to Pigeon Healthy to discover these historical race preparation techniques that provide time-tested wisdom for competition preparation that optimizes performance while supporting long-term health and racing success. Let me address the most common mistakes that destroy 100-kilometer preparation and provide specific solutions that ensure systematic preparation success. Mistake 1. Inadequate progressive training. Many fanciers jump from short training distances directly to 100 kilometers without adequate progression that builds capability. Systematic solution: implement systematic distance progression over 8 to 10 weeks that builds capability gradually while respecting young bird developmental limitations. Mistake 2. Inappropriate nutrition. Young birds receive adult nutrition protocols that don't address development needs or training demands specific to their age and racing requirements. Solution: use age-specific nutrition with higher protein content and adjusted feeding schedules that support development while optimizing performance. Mistake 3. Overtraining stress. Excessive training frequency or intensity creates physical stress and psychological pressure that reduces performance and damages confidence. Solution: maintain systematic training schedules with adequate recovery periods and progressive intensity that builds capability without overwhelming young birds. Mistake 4. Poor weather judgment. Training young birds in severe weather conditions creates negative experiences that reduce confidence and navigation capability. Solution: use weather conditions progressively, introducing moderate challenges only after establishing confidence in favorable conditions. Mistake 5. Inadequate individual assessment. Treating all young birds identically ignores individual development rates and capabilities that require customized preparation approach. Solution: evaluate individual birds systematically and adjust preparation protocols based on individual development capability and response patterns. Mistake 6. Race day stress. Poor handling, inadequate preparation, or last-minute changes create race day stress that reduces performance regardless of preparation quality. Solution: practice race day procedures systematically and maintain consistent routines that minimize stress while optimizing performance preparation. Ancient trainers understood common training errors and developed systematic approaches that prevented mistakes while optimizing development. Medieval training wisdom included error prevention techniques that modern training science has validated as effective approaches to avoiding development problems and training mistakes. Renaissance training masters used systematic approaches that prevented common training errors while optimizing development through proven methods that avoided typical preparation mistakes. Subscribe to Pigeon Healthy to discover these traditional training wisdom techniques that help avoid common preparation mistakes while optimizing development through time-tested methods. Successful 100-kilometer preparation requires systematic tracking and evaluation that measures progress while identifying areas requiring adjustment or improvement. Performance tracking metrics. Monitor training flight times consistently to track improvement patterns and identify birds showing optimal development versus those requiring additional preparation. Evaluate return behavior and confidence indicators that predict competitive racing success better than speed alone. Track individual bird responses to training progression and adjust preparation schedules based on development patterns and capability indicators. Health and condition monitoring. Assess body condition weekly through weight tracking and physical evaluation that ensures optimal racing condition without excess weight. Monitor appetite, behavior, and energy levels that indicate training adaptation versus overtraining, stress requiring preparation adjustments. Evaluate digestive health and feed efficiency that affects nutrition absorption and energy availability for training and competition. Competition readiness assessment. Use systematic evaluation criteria to determine individual bird readiness for 100-kilometer competition rather than automatic entry based on age or training completion. Consider individual temperament, confidence levels, and stress responses that affect competitive performance beyond just physical capability. Evaluate navigation confidence and reliability through varied training conditions that predict competitive racing success. The complete 100-kilometer preparation system creates confident, capable young racers that excel in their first competitive season while building foundations for longer distance success throughout their racing career. Remember that a 100-kilometer preparation success depends on systematic approaches that address physical development, nutritional optimization, mental conditioning, and individual assessment, rather than random training hoping for good results. The most successful young bird racing operations use systematic preparation protocols that create consistent success rather than relying on genetic luck or random training that produces unpredictable results. Make sure to subscribe to Pigeon Healthy to discover the historical young bird preparation wisdom that complements modern training methods and provides time-tested approaches to systematic development and racing success. These ancient preparation methods have been validated by centuries of successful application and provide proven frameworks for young bird development that modern science continues to validate. What aspect of 100-kilometer preparation challenges you most? Drop your specific questions in the comments because understanding your preparation difficulties helps me create targeted content for systematic racing success. Subscribe now for the complete young bird racing series, and I'll see you in the next video, where we're covering 200-kilometer training progression that builds upon this 100-kilometer foundation to create middle-distance racing capability. What if I told you that the difference between winning and losing isn't genetics, training, or luck, but the feeding secrets that top fanciers guard more carefully than their bloodlines? What if I told you that million-dollar breeding operations use feeding protocols so specific that they measure ingredients to the gram and time feeding to the minute? I'm Pigeon Man, and today I'm exposing the closely guarded feeding secrets that separate championship lofts from average breeding operations. After months of investigation, interviews with legendary fanciers, and analysis of championship feeding protocols, I'm revealing the exact methods that create winners. These aren't basic feeding guidelines that you can find in any pigeon book. These are the insider secrets, expensive protocols, and championship methods that top fanciers have never shared publicly until now. But here's what makes these feeding secrets so powerful. They're based on decades of testing, millions of dollars in research, and competition results that prove their effectiveness. Every protocol I'll share has been validated through championship wins and breeding success. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact feeding formulas, secret ingredients, timing protocols, and preparation methods that have produced more champions than any other factor in pigeon racing history. Before we dive into these championship feeding secrets, tell me in the comments, what's the most you've ever spent on pigeon feed or supplements in a single month? Because what you're about to learn will completely change your perspective on feeding investments. Let me start by revealing the most expensive and exclusive feeding secret in pigeon racing, the protocol used by Klaus van den Berkhe, whose birds have won over $3.2 million in prize money and whose breeding operation generates over $800,000 annually. Klaus's feeding program costs over $24,000 per year for just 100 breeding birds, but the return on investment through championship wins and offspring sales exceeds $400,000 annually. Here's exactly what makes his feeding so effective. The $1 million base mix formula. Klaus uses a custom grain blend that costs $3.40 per kilogram compared to standard racing mix at $1.20 per kilogram. But the ingredients in his formula are sourced from specific regions known for optimal nutritional content. The base mix contains 23% white corn from specific farms in Iowa where soil psyllium levels create optimal amino acid profiles. This corn costs 340% more than standard corn, but provides documented performance improvement. Premium Canadian peas comprise 18% of the mix, selected for protein content exceeding 23% and specific amino acid ratios that enhance muscle development and recovery rates. Belgian wheat represents 15% of the formula, sourced exclusively from farms using traditional growing methods that preserve vitamin B complex levels often destroyed in commercial production. The remaining 44% consists of 12 additional grains, each selected for specific nutritional properties and sourced from optimal growing regions worldwide. Secret ingredient number 1: Himalayan mineral salt. Klaus adds precisely 2.3 grams of Himalayan mineral salt per kilogram of feed, providing 84 trace minerals unavailable in standard salt supplement. This salt costs $180 per kilogram but provides electrolyte balance and mineral supplementation that significantly improves racing performance. The specific mineral profile includes rare earth elements that enhance oxygen carrying capacity and improve energy metabolism during racing conditions. Secret ingredient number 2, cold-pressed hemp oil. Each bird receives exactly 0.4 milliliters of cold-pressed hemp oil daily, providing omega fatty acids and optimal ratios for anti-inflammatory effects and enhanced recovery. This pharmaceutical-grade oil costs $240 per liter but provides measurable improvements in recovery time and training adaptation that justify the enormous expense. The precision feeding schedule. Klaus feeds his birds according to a schedule precise to 15-minute intervals, based on circadian rhythm research and digestive optimization study. Morning feeding occurs exactly 2 hours and 45 minutes after sunrise to coincide with peak digestive enzyme production. Evening feeding happens precisely 3 hours and 15 minutes before sunset to optimize overnight recovery process. Feed quantities are adjusted daily based on individual bird weight, training schedules, and environmental conditions using digital scales accurate to 0.1 grams. And this precision approach connects to ancient feeding wisdom I've been studying for pigeon health. Historical royal pigeon keepers understood feeding timing and used astronomical calculations to optimize feeding schedules based on natural rhythms. Medieval feeding masters developed ingredient sourcing networks that spanned continents to obtain optimal nutritional components, similar to Klaus's modern sourcing methods but using traditional knowledge of regional growing advantages. Subscribe to Pigeon Healthy right now to discover these historical precision feeding techniques that provided the foundation for modern championship feeding protocol. Now let me reveal the feeding secrets of Maria Santos from Portugal, whose loft has produced 47 national champions over 12 years using feeding methods that most fanciers would consider extreme. The champion bloodline feeding system. Maria discovered that different bloodlines require completely different nutritional protocols to reach their genetic potential. She maintains 7 distinct feeding programs based on bloodline characteristics and performance requirements. Janssen bloodlines receive high-fat diets with 22% fat content to support their natural power characteristics, while Van Loon bloodlines get moderate fat with enhanced vitamin B complex for their endurance genetic. Each bloodline has specific feeding schedules, ingredient proportions, and supplement protocols developed through 15 years of systematic testing and performance correlation. Secret ingredient number 3, fermented grain protocol. Maria ferments specific grains for 72 hours using a proprietary bacterial culture that increases nutrient bioavailability by 340% according to laboratory analysis. The fermentation process breaks down complex carbohydrates and increases amino acid availability while adding beneficial probiotics that improve digestive health and nutrient absorption. This fermented grain costs 280% more than standard grain but provides documented improvements in feed conversion efficiency and racing performance. Secret ingredient number 4, Antarctic krill meal. Each bird receives 1.2 grams of Antarctic krill meal weekly, providing astaxanthin and omega-3 fatty acids unavailable in traditional pigeon feed. This marine protein source costs $420 per kilogram but provides antioxidant protection and cardiovascular benefits that significantly improve racing endurance. The pre-race loading protocol. Maria's pre-race feeding protocol begins 14 days before competition with systematic carbohydrate loading and energy optimization that requires precise timing and measurement. Days 14-11, reduce total feed quantity by 15% while increasing carbohydrate percentage to 65% to begin glycogen loading without excess weight gain. Days 10-7, implement peak carbohydrate loading with specialized grain blend providing 72% carbohydrates from easily digestible sources. Days 6-4, transition to race-specific feeding with reduced quantity and optimized digestibility to ensure optimal body condition without digestive stress. Days 3-1, minimal feeding with glucose supplements and electrolyte optimization to maintain energy levels while achieving peak racing weight. Tell me in the comments, have you ever tried systematic pre-race feeding protocols, or do you use the same feeding routine year-round? Understanding your current approach helps me share the most relevant championship feeding secret. But this systematic pre-race preparation connects to ancient competition feeding wisdom preserved on Pigeon Healthy. Historical racing masters understood carbohydrate loading and used systematic feeding progression that modern sports nutrition science has validated. Medieval competition feeding included loading protocols that optimized energy availability while maintaining optimal body condition through precise feeding schedules and ingredient selection. Subscribe to Pigeon Healthy to discover these historical competition feeding techniques that provide time-tested wisdom for pre-race optimization and performance enhancement. Let me share the feeding secrets of Hans Müller from Germany, whose breeding operation has sold over $4.8 million worth of breeding stock using feeding protocols that create genetic expression beyond normal bloodline potential. The genetic expression feeding system, Hans discovered that specific nutritional protocols can enhance genetic expression and improve offspring quality beyond what traditional feeding provides. Breeding birds receive specialized feeding programs designed to optimize genetic transmission and enhance the quality of genetic expression in offspring through nutritional genetic management. Secret ingredient number 5, spirulina algae complex. Hans uses pharmaceutical-grade spirulina, providing complete amino acid profiles and growth factors that enhance genetic expression and improve offspring development. Each breeding bird receives exactly 0.8 grams daily of the spirulina complex, which costs $380 per kilogram but provides documented improvements in offspring quality and genetic consistency. Secret ingredient number 6, bee pollen from specific regions. Breeding birds receive bee pollen exclusively from mountain regions where specific plant communities provide optimal nutritional profiles for breeding enhancement. This specialized bee pollen costs $280 per kilogram compared to standard bee pollen at $45 per kilogram, but provides enzymes and nutrients that significantly improve breeding performance and offspring vitality. The breeding season feeding protocol. Hans adjusts feeding protocols throughout breeding season based on breeding cycle phases and individual bird requirements for optimal breeding success. Pre-breeding phase, high-protein feeding with 24% protein content and specialized supplements that optimize reproductive system preparation and genetic potential. Active breeding phase, balanced nutrition with enhanced calcium and vitamin levels that support egg production and optimal offspring development. Post-breeding recovery. Recovery-focused feeding with enhanced amino acids and antioxidants that restore breeding bird condition and prepare for subsequent breeding cycle.